Okay, hi, welcome back. It's me, Devraj. This is Mysticism and the Body. And I'm back today with a Liber Owl. This is the 5th episode in our journey through the Liber Owl. Where we got to was chapter 1, book 1, end of verse 27. Though I did at some point jump ahead a little bit, just to get to an exciting bit. A bit egotistical of me. But to recap, the first 14 verses are really written through the voice of Nuit, the star goddess. And she's trying to get into your mind. She's trying to get into your mind, this star goddess, the force behind the manifest world. And she's trying to spin your ego around. So it's kind of, it's very feminine, tantric feminine, written towards a man. You know, she's trying to get in there and get your rational mind to slacken off a bit, slacken off some of those wing nuts and let her in. And then the tone changes from verse 15 and it becomes more like the narrator, and they're really, you know, talking back person to person in this kind of egoic consciousness that we're all familiar with, of course. And saying, you know, about the prince priest, making it a bit gothic and a bit tantric, really, the next few verses. The concept of this prince priest, the beast, and his woman, the scarlet woman, you know, these kind of archetypes. I remember years ago when I was a punk, you know, there were always goths around. I'm kind of more into goth music now, actually. The Sisters of Mercy were a big band. This guy, Andrew Eldritch, you know, and he was really like almost channel. I sat in so many clubs, punk goth clubs, always were kind of together, and then, you know, 4 a.m, someone would be playing Temple of Love or whatever, and all the goths would get on the dance floor. There was a place in central London, Torrens Street, near the Angel, and they'd all be on the dance floor just doing the kind of goth step dance, you know. But it's a similar kind of energy. You have this sense of like the devil or something, you know, the kind of Christian concept of the devil, rousing the kind of dispossessed, rousing the dispossessed of a city, you know, into worshipping him. And you have a little bit of a sense of that, but not massively, you know. There's a lot of kind of ritual goddess in here as well, but it's got that gothic tinge to it, definitely. So let's continue along a little bit. I mean, something to, I think also, you know, because I'm also doing a series on the Zohar, this famous Jewish mystical text, and in that, you know, it's like even one verse can be like this kind of deep object, you know, where there's just like a kind of zip file. It's literally, if you go into it, you're just unraveling so much stuff, you know, and this is more like tantric love poetry, you know. It's kind of trying to seduce you in some way. Last sentence we looked at, O Nuit, continuous one of heaven, let it be ever thus that men speak not of thee as one, but as none, and let them speak not of thee at all, since thou art continuous. You know, this is the priest, the kind of male aspect of ego consciousness, saying that he's kind of got it, he's starting to get it. So he's getting seduced. You know, he's feeling the energy of the sky goddess, this. And he's saying, yes, I get it. I can't escape from you. You know, I've created this ego, or some force has created this ego in my mind, but actually I can't really escape from you. Every aspect of that is you. So he's kind of starting to fall into a bit of a trance or something like that. And then we continue, none breathed the light, faint and fairy of the stars and two. So I think, yeah, it's kind of reinforcing that. The light of the stars is very central here, you know, this light from the outside, this light from the noumenal realm. Early on we had this amazing line, really, you know, like, worship then the hubs and behold my light shed over you. You know, worship your individuality and you will feel this light from the outside, from the deep noumenal realm over you. But this doesn't mean just to say become like totally narcissistic. That's more actually the reverse perspective. It's a little bit tricky to get, I think, this thing, interplay between the hubs and the who. Because what's kind of happened, you know, where we've gone to is we've got, you know, this intellectual self that's creating as an artifact a kind of a sense of individuality. but you're separate from the world around you. And then what we're kind of doing now with like modern day capitalism and social media and images, AI, is we're just trying to narcissistically feed this non-existent sense of self, and of course it doesn't work very well. It's visibly causing cultures to really strain wherever you are in the world, I think. But worshipping your individuality in this sense is different. The hubs is your individuality, what makes you unique. And it's more like what they used to say in the old days, shine a light upon yourself. It's like, look at who you are. You can go out into the world and develop and go for what you want, but from the perspective also of wanting to know who you really are. It's kind of reversing this ego perspective that we usually have. So none breathed the light, so it's saying, yes, I'm none and I'm also two. Like, you can't really escape from me with your ego consciousness, because that's also my creation. For I am divided for love's sake, for the chance of union. So she's expanding upon that, this separation that you experience, this intellectual self. In Hebrew, that would be ruach, second of 5 levels of self, second from the bottom, that is. So the goddess is saying, you're only experiencing this egoic state, this apparent state of individuality and selfhood, your own selfhood, because of the ecstasy of union, because of the chance of union. This is the creation of the world, that the pain of division is as nothing and the joy of dissolution all. So saying it's not, a lot of people would say that's not really correct, that the pain of division is, overwhelming. But she's saying it has nothing and the joy of dissolution all. When you dissolve back into me, that'll be ecstatic. For these fools of men and their woes care not thou at all. So, talking to the priest or the scarlet woman, falling into their swoon, starting to get it, saying, don't worry about the other people around you, they're still trapped in this ruach intellectual consciousness. Care not at all for them, they feel little. What is balanced by weak joys. But ye are my chosen ones. So bigging them up again, it's easy, because when you come from like an underclass, and coming from like a punk or goth background is excellent here. You can kind of understand what's going on. Low self-esteem is standard. You always kind of on some level, don't always own it, but like looking at yourself as lower than the kind of straight people, so to speak, around you, wearing their normal clothes and going to their 9-to-5 jobs and this kind of thing. But she's saying, they don't feel anything, and you are my chosen ones. So this idea, you are my chosen ones, very, very, it's very, very powerful if you're coming from the underclass, where you sense yourself put down your whole life. Whether that's true or not is debatable, or debatable according to the individual. But she's saying, no, don't go back to that low self-esteem. You are my chosen ones. Obey my prophet. Follow out the ordeals of my knowledge. Seek me only. Seek me only. Look for the star goddess inside of you, to break down this accumulation of thinking, intellectual mind that has created this sense of individuality. Then the joys of my love will redeem ye from all pain. When you find me, when you start to get the breakup of this intellectual mind and you see there's nothing really underneath it, it's just a useful tool. The love that you feel will redeem you. This is so, I swear it by the vault of my body. Again, this, very, very common star goddess in Egyptian hieroglyphs, or whatever you call them. It's a woman's body bent over like this, as though she's the sky. By my sacred heart and tongue, by all I can give, by all I desire of ye all. Then the priest fell into a deep trance or swoon. So by my sacred heart and tongue, it could be just a sort of tantric thing, or it could be a little bit Kabbalistic. Sacred heart, Binah, tongue, Hokmah, creating. Because we get the word abrahadabra in here, but abracadabra, which is the kind of original you learn as kids when you're reading these sort of magic-y books. Someone says abracadabra, it actually means I create as I speak. So as I speak something, it comes into manifestation. That's what it means. And it's tracking back to like old Jewish Kabbalah notions of how the world came into existence, being spoken through the 22 letters. Let's not get too Hebrew. By all I can give, by all the desire of ye all. Then the priest fell into a deep trance or swoon. So he really, he's kind of seen it, and he's just fallen inside himself, and said unto the Queen of Heaven, Nuit, write unto us the ordeals, write unto us the rituals, write unto us the law. So then the ordeals are like, I guess, what you have to go through to get to this state of consciousness, or to join the kind of club that he's going to start, the cult or whatever. Write unto us the rituals, write unto us the law. And then what rituals are you going to perform, and what is your kind of, your kind of codes of conduct? A little bit like the Buddhist Sangha, what is it? Buddha Dharma Sangha, tiny little bit like that, tiny little bit. But she said, the ordeals I write not. So you're not going to be told what you have to go through. The rituals shall be half known and half concealed. So you get some of the rituals that you're going to perform together. The law is for all, and this that thou writest is the threefold book of the law. So it's saying, this is the law for the new religion that you're going to set up. My scribe Ankh Afna Khonshu, the priest of the princes, shall not in one letter change this book. So, don't, write it down as it is and don't change it. But lest there be folly, he shall comment thereupon by the wisdom of Rahu Akuit. So he will summon somehow Rahu Akuit into his mind to sort out any problems with the text. Also the mantras and spells, the obey and the wanga, the work of the wand and the work of the sword, these he shall learn and teach. These he shall learn and teach. So he's going to learn the way to hold the school, and the things that, to keep everyone in line, and what they need to do in terms of developmental work, the mantras they need, the kind of magic amulets or whatever that they need, teachings that they need, and then he's going to teach these. He must teach, but he may make severe the ordeals. So it's kind of reinforcing that, but he may make severe the ordeals doesn't quite fit into me in some ways. He's suddenly getting empowered to make severe the ordeals. Maybe the crows always come in when something important is being said. I remember I was mispronouncing Crowley's name as Crowley, and the crows were going nuts outside. I think, from after this, we start into Philema, and they're building up the concept of the kind of cult religion that they're going to start, and I don't mean cult in a negative way. I've been cults, don't worry. So I think we can leave that for the next episode and get into what's being said here. Try and unpack some more of this stuff next time. So this is a bit of a short one. I hope it's been useful to you. Feel free to check out my books on Amazon. If you search for my name, Devaraj Sandberg, there's not many of those names around, so it's not hard to find out what I'm up to. Do also spend your own time with the Book of the Law. It's a beautiful text. It's got this kind of reset button effect that it's trying to invoke, and then it's also laying out how it wants the future to be, specifically with Philema, but also in a broader context with the world. Okay, cool. Enough from me, and I'll speak to you later.